What is up, good people? It's your man, Big B, man. What's going on? What is going on? I just wanted to see what was happening. First time going live. This is the first time going live. Just wanted to see what you guys were up to. How you guys feel about what the Steelers did yesterday. I like it. Y'all need to check out the podcast that's coming on later that we're going to have. Steelers podcast, Steelers Almighty podcast. Come check it out tonight. The premiere, 8 Eastern, 7 Central. We're going to talk about a lot of that stuff, man. We are going to talk about a lot of what the Steelers did and why I think the moves that they made are, while it's not big splash moves, but it's moves that they needed to make, and they're a better football team. One move in particular is better than the other. So we'll talk about a lot of that tonight as well. But mainly just wanted to get on here and see if you all appreciated the live stuff, vertical, basically without the production and stuff like that. So that's why I'm out here. Just wanted to try this out, man. This is the first time doing this one from the phone. We usually have a whole setup that we're doing, but I just wanted to jump on. Had some free time. Wanted to talk to you guys, man. How are you guys feeling about the Steelers? Like, do you guys like what they did yesterday? So, because I like what the Steelers did yesterday. I really do. I think what they did is it makes them a better football team. Yeah, I think it makes them a better football team. They needed pass rush as far as depth at that position. They got a guy. He can also play the 3 technique. When we're in nickel, which the Steelers are in nickel 55% of the time. So, it's always good to have another pass rusher. And he's a better pass rusher than Larry O. Preston Smith is a better pass rusher from just in general than Larry O. That doesn't mean Larry O's bad. It just means that Preston Smith is a little bit better. So, but yeah, I like that. And look, having Mike Williams is only going to help the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know a lot of people are like, man, we didn't necessarily need him. I like who we had. What football team just says, you know what? We're good. We have an opportunity to get better, but we're just not going to do it. And, that's not what football teams do, man. They don't do that. They don't say, hey, we're good, but we're not going to get better. The Steelers had an opportunity. They had an extra 5th-round pick. Why not go at a Mike Williams to get better? Of course it makes sense. Of course it makes sense, man. And again, is he Brandon Ayuk? No, but the Steelers were never going to get Brandon Ayuk. I was never in on that. Brandon Ayuk used the Steelers as a side piece, man. We were never, ever going to get him. He wasn't leaving San Francisco. The Steelers were also never going to get Devontae Adams. I mean, that was a pipe dream. I mean, he wasn't coming. I mean, he went to the Raiders because he wanted to play with his friend Derek Carr. And then when that fell through and Carr gets traded, then he wanted to go back and play with his friend Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams was never coming. So it is what it is. It is what it is. Mike Williams stays healthy. He's an excellent number 2 to have. Yeah, he is. And here's the thing. Everybody thinks that, well, if Mike Williams, he's coming in, that means our other receivers are bad. It doesn't mean that our other receivers are bad. It just means we got a guy that's better, that fits what we're trying to do. Mike Williams is a guy that stretches the field vertically, down the sideline, in between the numbers. That's what he does. Well, we got a quarterback that likes to throw the ball down the field, in between the numbers, and the sideline. So why not use that to our advantage? So, but the Steelers got better on both sides of the football. Let's make no mistake about that. They absolutely got better. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because where the Steelers are currently at, there's a lot of teams out there, man, that are at the same level that went and tried to go get better. The Ravens, they went and got better. The Bills, they got better. The Chiefs, they got better. That's the Steelers' competition right now. All of those teams went out and made moves to go get better, to try to get after this thing. Well, the Steelers needed to do the same thing because they're in that boat. You know, a lot of people may or may not want to agree. They may disagree, but the Steelers are in that boat. So they needed to make some moves to get better, and they did. They did. So what's going on, man? Glad you guys came out. I appreciate you. I really do appreciate you. First time that Steelers Almighty, Big B's going live on YouTube, at least on my phone. We do the big production type stuff, but I had a few minutes. So I wanted to just say what's up and how you guys were doing. How you guys feeling? What else? What else is going on in the world? Are we feeling good about where the offense is as a Steelers fan right now? I feel good about it. I think the Steelers offense is a hell of a lot better than what it was under Justin Fields. And that's not saying that Justin Fields played bad or anything like that. I just think Russell Wilson opens up more on the offensive side of the football. We just look different. The offense looks different. We're a different offense with Russell Wilson than what we were with Justin Fields. That's just a fact. That's not throwing shade. That's not any of that. It's just a fact. He has more control of the line of scrimmage, can get us in and out of good and bad plays, throws the ball down the field, trusts what he sees. I think that's part of Justin Fields' problem. He sees the stuff, he just doesn't trust it. And so he doesn't make the throws. So he just doesn't make the throws. Yeah, Russ has the offense in an upward trajectory. The run game has been helped out because we're throwing the ball more. And teams don't want us to throw the ball down the field, so they're not putting an extra safety down in the box. So Najee, Jaylen Warren, they've gotten loose. We've been able to use a lot of different receivers. Mike Williams is only going to help that. And Mike Williams is going to play immediately. He's going to get out there, and he's going to play immediately. So, Mike Williams is not Van Jefferson, man. That's not a correct take. Van Jefferson is not 6'4", 225 pounds. That's number one. Okay. Van Jefferson has never done the things that Mike Williams has accomplished in this league. Never, ever, ever. And I'm not even saying Mike Williams has had this all-pro career, because he hasn't. But the one thing that I know for an absolute fact, Van Jefferson can't do the things that Mike Williams can do. Not in the National Football League. He can't. So it's not the same. It's not the same. So, and now the one thing I will say, Mike Williams got to stay healthy. If he's not going to stay healthy, then none of this even matters. None of it matters. And we know that Mike Williams has had a problem with staying healthy, but he's an upgrade over Van Jefferson. He's an upgrade over Calvin Austin, but they're a different type of receiver. Calvin Austin can be in the slot and get things in the slot, over the middle, down the field. Yeah, so it's a different type of player. And I think this actually will help Calvin Austin. This will give Calvin Austin, for instance, you got Pickens on one side, Mike Williams on another side, and then you can put Calvin Austin in the slot and let him just work out of the slot doing that. Yeah, we got something. With Freiermuth also running up the seam, we got better. Let's see. Just think if all the offensive linemen were healthy right now with no injuries. Yeah, Eric, you're right, man. If the Steelers' offensive line was healthy, Lord have mercy. But I'm going to address this in the podcast tonight. You guys come back again. Steelers Almighty podcast is going to be today at 7 Central, 8 Eastern tonight. I address, and I'm going to address all of that stuff as far as the offensive line. And think about what the Steelers would be. Or think about this. The Steelers have all these guys coming back. They got Herbig coming back. They got Mike Williams coming in, Cam Sutton, Corey Trice Jr. Who else is coming back? Well, Zach Frazier's coming back. They got all this influx of guys that are injured coming back to a football team that are capable guys, and they're 6-2. Think about that for a second. Usually a team that gets this amount of starters and productive players back into their lineup after being injured or suspended, that team is like 3-5 or 2-6 or something like that. The Steelers are 6-2. And they're getting back all of these guys into their lineup for the second half of the season. Just something to think about. So I think we missed out on D-Hop because you didn't want to be a Steeler because you didn't want to be a Steeler. I think you meant because he didn't want to be a Steeler. Maybe he didn't. I don't know. But if D-Hop had his choice, would you want to go play for the Kansas City Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes and the two-time defending champs, or the Steelers? And I'm a diehard Steeler fan, but let's just put it in perspective. I mean, 3 weeks ago, we didn't even know who the quarterback was going to be for the Steelers long-term, or not even long-term, the rest of the year. So saying we missed out on D-Hop, it's a two-way street. We may have wanted D-Hop, but did he want to come? And if the answer was no, what are you going to do? So, and I'm not even saying that maybe he didn't have a no-trade clause, but you don't want to bring somebody into your locker room that doesn't want to be there, man. That doesn't make any sense. So, the best coaching staff? I don't know if this is the best coaching staff. I don't know if this is the best coaching staff. I'm still out on the Pat Meyer, the offensive line coach. I'm still out on that. I think we can do better there. So I don't know that we've got the best coaching staff available. But I appreciate y'all being in here, man. Like I said, this is the first time that I have done a live on YouTube, or at least on my phone. You know, we do the big production lives and all that kind of stuff with the channel, but I think I'm going to start doing this a little bit. I think I'm going to start doing this. This is fun. I used to do it on TikTok, but I can't stand TikTok. I cannot stand TikTok. I love YouTube so much more. The intellectual level is so much higher on YouTube. The engagement is just higher. I just prefer YouTube so much more than TikTok, man. And I'm sorry I even brought them up. I'm not even going to bring them up. So, but yeah, this is the first time I've done this. They haven't been doing this for that long. So I appreciate YouTube allowing us to do that. So I think it's fun. What's going on from Brazil, man? What's happening, Theo? Appreciate you being in here. Chef Mo, what's going on? Gooped. So I appreciate y'all joining in. Y'all have something to say, man, just throw it in the chat. Throw it in the chat. But again, if you're not already subscribed to Steelers Almighty, make sure you do. Fastest growing Steelers channel on YouTube, man. We started April 4th of this year. We are literally like 4 users away for 4,000 subscribers. So if you have not subscribed, make sure you do. You know, make sure you do. What's going on? Hey, Tony. What's going on, man? So it is a good day to be a Steeler and an American. Man, it's every day. It's always good to be a Steeler fan. And it's always good to be American, regardless of who you voted for or who won the election. I don't want to be anywhere else. You know, I don't care who won the election. I don't want to be anywhere else. I know that. Just at work chilling. I got you, my man. I got you. So, yeah, I like the Steelers. I like what the Steelers did. I really like what the Steelers did. So, I think the Steelers, the moves that they made, it bolsters them. And then it just adds. It feels like we made a bunch of deadline trades with the guys that we're getting back. Like I said, we're getting Zach Frazier back. We added Mike Williams. We're getting Herbig back. Corey Trice Jr. back. Matakevich, we're even getting him back. We added Preston Smith. I mean, we're getting a lot of guys back, man. A lot of guys back. So it feels like we're getting an influx of talent at the trade deadline, but some of these guys were already on our football team, and we're 6-2. We're 6-2. I appreciate that, Theo, man. I just try to talk. I'm a football fan. Look, I've been around football my whole life, man. My dad started taking me to high school football games when I was 2 years old. I understand football. I don't claim to be smarter than anybody else. I probably am, but that doesn't mean I go and throw that out. All I do is talk about what I see, man. and just give it to you guys straight. I'm not a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. I'm a football fan that knows football, and I just like to talk football to people. That's it, man. That's all I try to do. And we aren't always going to agree. Heck, we haven't even agreed in here just now. We're not always going to agree. I'm just not going to be disrespectful to you. I expect the same in return. I know I'm not always going to get that, but it is what it is. So would be wise to play Smith in the inside since he has a nose for stopping the run. I said the same thing, Chef Mo. I think Preston Smith, because we're in nickel 55% of the time, he's a better pass rusher than Larry O, but he also knows how to stop the run. So I think they put, even in our base package, you can put him outside in that other defensive position, but also he's going to give us some, because he's so versatile, he's going to give us an opportunity to rest TJ Watt a little bit more. Now, you want Watt on the field as much as possible, but you got to allow for him to rest sometimes. Think of Marcus Golden last year. Marcus Golden was a godsend when he got to the Steelers because he's really good against the run, but he can also rush the damn passer, man. And we were able to give TJ Watt some rest, and that added depth helps. It helps. So having Preston Smith being able to do both is going to help the Steelers. Yeah, we're getting a ton of depth back at the right time, man. A ton of depth back. So, no, I love the game. I love the game of football. What's going on, Robert? Pittsburgh Dad on my podcast. I don't know who that is. I don't know who that is. Hey, we're going to try to get Big G on once a week. We're going to try to get Big G on once a week. We're going to figure out the days and all that kind of stuff, but we're going to try to get him on once a week and be part of it. We are. That was fun last night, man. That was fun last night. So hopefully we can work it out with schedules and all that stuff. Yeah, Theo, we got a ton of depth pieces. Guys that are going to contribute. Think about this. And I said this at the beginning of the year before the season started. You know, we got JPJ, Minka, Deshaun Elliott, Dante Jackson, Beanie Bishop. Now you have Cam Sutton and Corey Trice Jr. all in the secondary. That's pretty good, isn't it? That's pretty good. I mean, I'm sure maybe there is a better secondary out there, but collectively, you'd be hard-pressed to find it. You'd be hard-pressed to find it. I mean, that's pretty good. Those guys are pretty good. So, yeah, I like the depth. I like that secondary depth. The one unit that I'm not happy with the Pittsburgh Steelers is the linebacking core. That's the one unit that I'm like, we can be better. I'm just not happy with Patrick Queen right now. I'm not happy with him. I just need to see more. I just need to see more. So, and maybe the second half of the season, we're going to start seeing more. Maybe that's a thing, that the second half of the season, we're going to start seeing more of them. But who knows? Who knows? Yeah, Broderick. Look, I'm not going to keep. People get mad at me because they think I'm too hard on Broderick Jones. They get in the comment section. First of all, they tell me that I'm too hard on him because I'm black and he's black, and I shouldn't be so hard on a brother. Somebody said that to me. Plays are going away, and why are you so worried about it? And people are just mad at me because I won't leave Broderick Jones alone. Well, I mean, at some point, my job is as a content creator and talking about the Steelers, I'm going to talk about what you guys want. If you don't want me to talk about Broderick anymore, I won't. But the bottom line is Broderick Jones has been an absolute disaster this season. Period. End of story. And I don't care what you say. He's been terrible. He's been terrible. So I'm going to continue because I know he's better than this. If I didn't think he was any good, I wouldn't even talk about him. But he is. He is. So I really like Mike Will pickup. From all the names I was hearing, his strong points and frame just works better. Yes, Chef. Yes, Mike Williams works better. We were never going to get, like people were saying, Amari Cooper. I'm like, you think the Cleveland Browns are going to trade with the Steelers? No, man, that's not realistic. It was never Ayuk. It was never. The one name that I thought was a possibility was Hopkins. That was the guy that I thought, okay, Hopkins, or even Christian Kirk, because I'd mentioned Christian Kirk, but I don't like Kirk's contract, after this season, all the money that he's guaranteed. I'm like, I don't even know if I want to deal with that, although he would help. But Mike Williams is a better fit for what we do, for Broderick, for this Arthur Smith offense. So 6'4", appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate you a ton, man. Broderick needs to work on strength this offseason, chest, core, and arms. Drizzy, to be honest with you, I don't think that's the problem. I think Broderick is strong enough. It's his hand placement that's terrible. It's his technique that's bad. I think now don't get me wrong, everybody can get stronger. Everybody can get stronger. So I'm not saying not to do that, but it's his hand placement. I mean, you can be the strongest guy in the world, but if your hands are on the outside and a guy's hands are on your chest, they win. Period. End of story. It's just end of story. And Broderick's just got to get better at that. I'm not sure Pat Meyer's the guy, the coach to be able to get that out, but Broderick's got to get better. He's just got to get better. That's the way I see it. I like him. I think he's great. But Broderick looks like he's putting on too much weight. What does Drizzy say? Looks like he's putting on too much weight. He looks a lot less athletic overall. Hope he didn't get too comfortable after a decent year. Look at his physique compared to Dan Moore. Well, he's a bigger guy than Dan Moore, but I don't think you're wrong. He may have put on too much weight, not in shape, rested on his laurels because he played pretty good as a rookie. I do think that Broderick's arm is hurt. I think it's either a torn bicep, torn tricep, or a UCL ligament in his elbow. I think that's what it is more than anything. Because if you tear a tricep, you don't play anymore. If you play a bicep, you don't play anymore. So I think he's got that UCL ligament in his elbow. You can play with that, but you're not near as strong. I think he's hurt. But you know me. Just because you're hurt, that don't give you an excuse to play bad. And it damn sure doesn't give you an excuse for bad effort. I just don't, if you're going to be out there, play well. If you can't play well, let somebody else play. That's my feeling. Do you think Nick Herbig will stay with Pittsburgh or go try and be a star somewhere, try to start somewhere else? I think he's going to be here for now. The Steelers don't have to make a decision on that for a minute. And if we're being honest, I mean, as of right now, what's Nick Herbig done to say star? I mean, we like him and we think he can play, but he's not better than Alex Highsmith. He's definitely not better than TJ Watt. And so, the sample size that he has, yeah, there's going to be some teams out there, but he's got to put a full season together first before he goes out and gets huge money. But by the time he's ready, it may be time for the Steelers to sign him, and maybe they'll move on from Alex Highsmith. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. Let's see. Hopefully it's just him being on the right side. I think he was anticipating being the starting left tackle. I do too. I think that, and I think what happened is that he wants to be the left tackle and maybe was going to battle to be the left tackle. But when Faitanu got hurt, they're like, well, hold on, you got to play right tackle because Dan Moore can't play right tackle. And I think he's pissed off. Well, you can be pissed off, but we still need you to play well. We still need you to play well. What do you think of us playing so much zone? Also, we should blitz more. I said that last night. I'm going to say more of that today. I think the Steelers have just been super vanilla. Part of it, I think, is because, when you have Benny Bishop out there as your slot corner, maybe you don't want to confuse him. And playing zone might be better for him. But the Steelers definitely had to play more. I think the first half of the season, they're just trying to get by, and we're able to get by doing a lot of vanilla stuff. They're not going to be able to do that in the second half. Quarterbacks are way too good that we're going to be facing starting this week if you don't try to trick them up some. The NFL is too good to just say, okay, we're going to line up and cover two, roll coverage, drop a safety, and that's all we're going to do. Nah, they're too good for that. And quarterbacks are too good. Offenses are too complex. You got to try to trick the quarterbacks from time to time. And I think the Steelers need to do that. So. The only reason I'll say the Broderick coverage is a bit much is because I don't doubt the Steelers aren't addressing the issues or allowing him to work through his woes. I mean, they are, but bad play is still bad play. I mean, it is what it is. He's still playing bad. That's the thing. He's still playing bad. I definitely think he's hurt. But effort. His effort is the problem. If he was given a ton of effort and he just couldn't block guys because, his whatever is hurt with him, okay. If his technique was good, but he just can't finish blocks the way because he's hurt, I don't think anybody would have a problem. But when you see the lack of effort, that doesn't have anything to do with your injury. That's you. So, well, the thing about Herbig, I don't know if he's too small, but Herbig isn't good against the run. Yeah. There you go. That's it, Jordan. I've been saying that all along. People were like, why doesn't Herbig get in over Alex Highsmith? Hold on a second. Alex Highsmith is outstanding against the run. Not good, outstanding. Nick Herbig's not in the same class when it comes to that. Not in the same class. So right now, Herbig is a situational pass rusher. That's what he's good at, and that's a good thing. You need those guys. But he's not Alex Highsmith. He's just not. He can get there, but he's not there yet. So, Big B, hopefully PQ will come out of his shell when we play against his old team, Baltimore, and it should wake him up. But he should have already been woken up. Yeah, he should already be woken up. I don't get it. I don't like it. We need more. But you know what? I'll also say this. I'm not afraid to say it. Some people got on me about it. We need more from Minkah Fitzpatrick. $18 million is a lot of money to play a safety that doesn't have any interceptions, man. That's all I'm saying. I don't want him to be the leading tackler because he's playing free safety. And if your free safety is your leading tackler, that's a problem. But he's able to do some stuff that he wasn't because Deshaun Elliott's there. I love it. But we need to start seeing some of these splash plays. And I think he's getting close. He's getting close. But it needs to start showing up. What's going on, Joe? Man, I appreciate you saying that. I try to be the most informative. I try to have a conversation with you guys. And I just try to talk to you guys as fans. I'm a fan. And I think there's enough journalists out there that cover the Steelers and want to talk the Steelers, and a lot of fan people out there that look. I don't claim to be the smartest Pittsburgh fan out there or anything like that. All I know is I know football, and I just want to talk to you about football. Does that mean I'm right on everything? Nope. Doesn't mean that. Does it mean we're going to agree on everything? Nope. Doesn't mean I don't even want to agree, because when we don't agree, the conversation is better. You know what I'm saying? So we don't have to agree on everything. My thing is, I'm going to be honest about what I see. Either you agree with that or you don't. I'm never going to be disrespectful to you and tell you you're stupid unless you're disrespectful to me first. I'm never going to do that. We don't have to agree, but I'm just going to be honest. And it is what it is. So I just like to talk. I love the Steelers. I always have. I got a big mouth. It is what it is. Mika has missed out on multiple opportunities making wrong reads. You're exactly right there. But I think he's getting close. I think he's getting close. So I feel like he's going to be more involved the second half of the season because he's going to have to be. You know, I heard a stat today, and I guess I knew it. I just didn't pay attention to it, is that the Steelers, when they've held teams under 20 points, they've won every game. And the time that they haven't, they've lost both games this year. Well, there's not going to be many times looking at the offenses that we face that we're going to be able to hold these teams under 20 points. Now, maybe it'll happen a couple times, but it's going to be tough to do that. So we're going to have to score some points. I think Mika's going to have to make some plays because these teams are going to be throwing the football. So, and you're right, Drizzy. Mika's just doing his job. He's just doing his job. And like I said, I don't mind that because last year he had to do, basically the last couple of years, he's had to do the job of others because of their limitations. Mika's had to do yeoman's work and not play his position. He's had to do other stuff because guys couldn't do it. And while that's fine, you miss out on what Mika is really good at, being the back line of the defense. So where is PQ falling short? I think we should appreciate his sound play. I mean, PQ has fallen short with no splash plays. That's number one. Number two, way too many missed tackles. And he's not in on enough tackles. Look, our defense is designed for linebackers to run and make tackles. He's not making enough of them. I'm not saying that he's playing terrible football, but what I'm saying, for what we pay him, we need more than that. We need more than that. So we just need more. I think with Cam Sutton back, they can open up the defense. I think so too. I think the Steelers are going to do a lot of different stuff in the second half of the season than what they have in the first half, man. I think so. Sorry about that. I think we need the defensive scheme to get a little more creative. I think sitting in base and relying on our outside linebackers pressure might be I absolutely agree. That's the thing, is that you can't just say, okay, we want our outside pass rushers and maybe Cam Hayward to get a push in the middle and that's it. You got to be creative. The offenses that we're going to face the second half of the season are way too gifted for us to just sit and just hope that we get home. You got to trick some guys from time to time. You do. You got to bring pressure where they're not expecting it. You just have to do that. That's the National Football League. Even TJ Watt is not going to beat his guy every single time. And that's all we can rely on is pressure from there. Can't do that. So Jones is 75 out of 78 tackles. Yes, he is. Broderick Jones is playing terrible football right now. Terrible football. If you are Coach Tomlin, how would you handle the offensive line? Like, who are you keeping or letting go? That's a good question, DMB. Here's my thing, is that James Daniels was in line to get probably anywhere between $18 and $21 million a year this offseason. He's 27 years old. This will be his third contract. Good guard. That's what guards are going for right now. So he was about to get paid. I don't know if that's necessarily going to happen now that he's got a torn Achilles. Maybe the Steelers can get him back for the cheap. Or do you just let him walk? If you let him walk, which I think the Steelers are probably going to do, I'm a Mason McCormick guy. I am huge on Mason McCormick. So you have him there. Siamalu, are you going to try to re-sign him? Because next year is the last year on his contract. Are you wanting to sign him for another year or two? If you are, then I'm okay with it. If you have no plans to re-sign Siamalu, then I think you have to get Daniels back and put McCormick on the other side. That's what I think. And so it just depends on what the Steelers want to do. Me personally, if I got a 26-year-old or next year a 27-year-old guard that we can probably get Daniels for $13 million now coming off the injury, then I do that. Put McCormick on the left side. I got Frazier, McCormick, and Daniels. Okay, now what do you do with the tackles? Faetanu is going to be my right tackle, and I need to see the rest of the year on Dan Moore Jr. I need to see the rest of the year. If he plays like he's playing right now, don't you have to sign Dan Moore? I mean, think about saying that. Think about that sentence for a second, though. Who in the hell would have thought we're going to sign Dan Moore Jr. after the last couple of seasons? Who would have even thought that that would even come out of any Steeler fan's mouth? Oh, man, we got to give Dan Moore Jr. an extension. And here we are. Here we are. So I just need to see that. If he's good, you sign him. If not, move Broderick over. I think you take another tackle, not in the first round, but maybe in the first 3 rounds and figure it out from there. Do I think Brian Flores would have been a better DC? Yeah, I do. But we all know the DC in Pittsburgh is Mike Tomlin. So talking about, Ellie, you're right. Strong safety in basically every defense gets a lot of the play, especially when you bring them down in the box. There's not enough guys to block them, so they're making tackles. But Ryan Clark, whoo, yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's see. What's going on, Matt? How you doing, man? Got to let Dan Moore go get his money. Why do we have to, though? Why can't we be the team that pays him? I'm just saying. I'm just throwing that out there. If Dan Moore plays well, or are we thinking, y'all know how I feel about contracts. Y'all know how I am. Guys in contract years, they play good. And then the year after that, they go right back in the toilet. Is that what we're seeing from Dan Moore? He wants to go get paid? Or is this the real guy? I don't know. My man Lamont, I'm going to. Those people that get on me, I don't care. I'm going to keep talking about Jones till he shows effort or they replace him. You're exactly right. He's showing it's one thing to get beat. It's another thing, and to have bad technique, which he does, but it's another thing to not give effort. If your technique is just bad, okay, man, what are you going to do? You can either fix it or not. But your effort, we should never be questioning that. And we are. Nah, I'm going to beat on him, man. And here's the thing. I beat on Broderick Jones, Joe, because I know how good he can be. That's why I get on him. If I didn't think he was any good, I wouldn't even talk about him. You know, there's plenty of guys on the Steelers that I don't even mention because I know they're not any good. Broderick Jones can be good. You see it. If you never saw it, that would be different. But you do see it. And that's what pisses me off. So, Siamalu, you're going to pass on him. Injury bug and expensive. He's not as expensive as James Daniels. So, and Siamalu only got hurt this year. He hadn't been hurt. Yeah, 66. McCormick's my dude. McCormick is my dude. I'm a McCormick guy. Look, he's got terrible technique. Terrible technique. And once he gets that figured out, we got us a dog. We got us an absolute dog. Because he's that guy on your football team or on another football team that you hate. Constantly blocks you to just that little second right after the whistle. Never gives up. Constant effort. Always running downfield to look and hit somebody right at the edge. I like that. Hated playing against it. Love it when it's on my team. So, bro, offensive line is a hard effing job. Yeah, I played it. I know. You got to be athletic and intelligent. It takes a second to get dudes up to speed. but your effort should never be the question. So, not having great technique, okay, we can live with that. We want you to get better at it. That's fine. But your effort should never be in question. Broderick Jones' effort is what's in question. And if your effort's in question, then what are we supposed to do with that? We're supposed to just say, okay, you're hurt. You can have bad effort. Absolutely not. At least I'm not going to. I'm not going to do that. I don't forgive lack of effort. I'm not going to do that. We have to pay GP, a quarterback, and Najee. You're right. We got to pay people. At some point, we got to pay these people. But I'm willing to spend the money on the offensive side of the ball because damn near a decade, we've spent it on the defensive side. So, what's going on, Luke? Man, we're going to try to have Big G back as much as we can get him back, man. We're going to try to get him back as much as we can. That was a good show last night. I had a lot of fun. So, Broderick's going to be better. I hope he is. And that's the thing with Broderick. I think he is better. He's just not playing like it. And again, just give me the effort. If you're hurt, give me the effort. So that's it. That's all I want. I just want the effort, man. I just want the effort. Ciamala was an injury guy career-wise. Was he injured a lot in Philly? I don't know. I didn't follow Philly, so I'll take your word for it. But I know he wasn't hurt last year with the Steelers, and I know he wasn't hurt the year they went to the Super Bowl with Philly. But previous to that, if Ciamala was an injury guy, then I don't know. I'll be honest. I didn't watch him. So, Coach T has to give up. He isn't creative enough. You think Coach Tomlin needs to give the play calling duties to somebody else? He's never going to do that, but I'm not going to disagree with you. I won't disagree on that. We got to be more creative on the defensive side of the ball. And maybe they will be because they were pretty creative last year. I mean, think about what the Steelers, what they did. They were playing guys at middle linebacker that the Steelers had to sign off the street. We're playing safeties at middle linebacker last year. And they were pretty creative. And they found a way. So when push comes to shove, I believe this staff will be better than what they've shown. At least I hope so. At least I hope so. Do we have a run defense problem? Maybe. Because what teams are doing is they're getting us in the nickel. They're running a lot of 11 personnel, and then they're running the ball because we put Peyton Wilson out there, and Peyton Wilson isn't great against the run right now. He tries to run around too many blocks, and he's not the guy that can run around blocks at this point in his career. So is it a problem? I mean, I don't know. Maybe. But I know that's what teams are doing. They're getting us in 11 personnel, which takes a guy, takes the nose out of the game and gets us out of our base. And then they run the ball at Peyton Will. And then Patrick Queen isn't making the plays. So Broderick is confused. Yeah, I've said that many times, bro. And you all have seen my all 22 breakdowns. Going the wrong way, yes. Doesn't know exactly what's going on. You're right. It's just a problem. I'd like to see Moore re-sign to a reasonable contract, given he sucked for years. See, that's my whole thing. Y'all know me. And y'all know what I say about it. Guys in contract years, man. And it's not just the Steelers. It's across the league. They play really, really good that 1 year, and then they go back. I'm nervous about Dan Moore. But I will say this. I agree with the reasonable contract. I'm not paying Dan Moore $22 million a year to be my tackle. Sorry. That's just not going to happen. That's just not going to happen. You know, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Now, if he wants to come in somewhere around 12 to 16, I can live with that. But I'm not paying Dan Moore Jr. $25 million a year to be my left tackle. I'm just not. I've seen too much football of him to say I got to tie up those kind of resources. No, no, no. Why do I talk similar to Coach T? I don't know. How do you know that he doesn't talk similar to me? Hope y'all didn't hear that in the background, man. I apologize. I live 2 houses down from where the tornado sirens are, and they just did their weekly test. It was interesting. Yeah, I mean, if Dan Moore is, I just don't want to pay him that kind of money. I don't. If we got to pay a quarterback, we're going to find out who that is. Let me ask y'all this. Let's get into this real quick before I run off. Do we want to pay Russ for the next, I would guess 2 to 3 years is what Russ is going to give us? Or do you want Justin Fields, or do you want somebody else? Because my thinking is if Russ continues at this pace and does this, he can do this for another two to 3 years. And also, you're not going to have to pay Russ no $60 million. You can say, hey, man, we want you here, but 35, that's the minimum, or that's the maximum. We're not giving you no $60 million a year contract, bro. That's not happening. So do you want that, or do you want to go somewhere else and start again? I think Russ will take it. I think he feels like the Steelers gave him an opportunity when not a lot of other teams would have. Here's his opportunity. Here's $35 million, man, for the next 2 or 3 years. Matter of fact, for 3 years, and we'll guarantee all of it for 3 years. But this is what you get. Okay. Then you start working. I like Justin Fields, but, man, this was his opportunity, man. I was so disappointed that he didn't take the job and run with it. Because I have said from the beginning, I think Justin Fields needs to win the job because he'll be our quarterback for the next decade. And if we're being honest, did he really go win the job? I mean, hell, he said it, but he didn't. Not enough. He didn't do enough. Not for me anyway. And I think that what they're thinking, and I love this approach, is what Justin Fields did was enough to make the playoffs. We could make the playoffs. Was it enough to win a division? No. Was it enough to win a playoff game? No. Russell Wilson gives us that opportunity to do that. So, what would have been enough? If we would have seen more control at the line of scrimmage, if we would have seen more downfield throws. There's too many opportunities where guys are open and he sees it, but he just doesn't trust what he sees. You know, there's too many opportunities that Justin Fields missed throwing the football, you know. And I know the first thing that people are going to say is that, well, maybe Arthur Smith's offense was too conservative, and it was. But number one, I think there's a reason for that. And number two, even on the times that it wasn't super conservative, Fields just didn't, I mean, he sees it, he just doesn't throw it. And he was so, I don't want to turn it over, I don't want to turn it over. I get that, and I can respect that. But sometimes you just got to cut it loose. Sometimes you just got to cut it loose. Pay Russ and have Fields go to a team he wants to start for and draft a QB who has an amazing arm and can run a little bit. I mean, I'm not out on drafting a quarterback in like the 3rd round or something like that to be the backup. I'm not opposed to that. Not opposed to it at all. So, what does GP think of the Williams signing? I think GP will be overjoyed with the Williams signing. I think he's going to be ecstatic with it because now he's got a guy on the other side. And again, let's not make Mike Williams out to be this all-pro caliber receiver. He's not. But he is good enough to threaten a defense on the other side, which I don't think Van Jefferson or Van Jefferson or Calvin Austin, I don't think that teams respected them enough. They'll at least have to have enough respect for Mike Williams and what he can do down the field. Because if you don't, he's going to beat you. You know? So I think GP is going to be fine with it. GP wasn't mad about Deontay Johnson being on the team. And Deontay Johnson is a miles better route runner than George Pickens. Chef Mo says, so gap discipline is where Peyton has fallen short. I can understand that for a young player trying to make plays. He just has to understand for the betterment of the team, you have to sacrifice. Exactly. It's gap discipline. He's trying to run around blocks and make plays versus, you know what? I just need to be here. Maybe I get blocked, but I don't have to make every play. I just need to be here and not run out of a hole to create a gigantic hole. And that's what Peyton Wilson is doing a lot of times. And then he's running and he's overrunning plays a lot too, trying to make the play. Man, you got to slow it down sometimes. He's so athletic and so fast, but you don't have to make every play. More importantly, just be where you're supposed to be. So, you think Justin Fields is going to get 25 to 30 million? A year? From who? I say that from who, like I'm being disrespectful. Not to you, but to Fields. But there's teams out there that'll pay it. You're right. Like, would the Raiders pay him? Would Carolina? Would the Giants? I don't know. But not the Steelers. No way, no how. The Steelers shouldn't give Justin Fields that kind of money. Not per year. No way. So, and you're right, Joe. They did it with baby hands Pickett. Don't turn the ball over, except Pickett turned the ball over. That was the difference. They told him, hey, we're just going to play it safe. We're going to do this and that. But he ended up turning the ball over. But Pickett also made some plays. I mean, let's not be crazy. He made some plays, but look, you're never going to convince me that he was a good quarterback, and I'm never going to agree that he was. And I'm not saying you're trying to. I'm just telling you in general. So, our offense and defense got better. Yes, they did, Alfonso. They sure did. Queen does the same thing. He takes bad angles. Absolutely. We talked about it earlier. Sorry you missed it, man. We talked about it earlier. I need to see more from Patrick Queen. I need to see more. So, the Raiders will give Fields big money. I think the Raiders are actually just going to draft a guy this time. I think. So, Justin gets a bag if he leaves Pitt, probably 40 million plus. No way. No way. Not if Justin Fields doesn't play another snap this season, who's going to pay him $40 million a year? I mean, who's going to do that? Nobody's going to do that. Mike Williams is a contested catcher who has wide open drops. For me, I don't like his game because he can't get open. It's always a jump ball. No routing up the corner just to get Williams, and he drops. Well, I mean, Mike Williams is a contested ball catcher. He's not a great route runner, but he is perfect for what Russell Wilson wants to try to do on the opposite side of George Pickens. To me, I think they're kind of the same receiver, except George Pickens has a much better route tree than Williams. Williams will drop it from time to time, but look, we're lying to ourselves if we're saying that Mike Williams isn't an upgrade over what we have outside of Pickens. He is. He just is. He's a better route runner. And not a better route runner. He's just a better receiver. He just is. I'm not saying he's great. I'm not saying he's great, but he's better, and he helps us. He helps us. So I wanted Hopkins. I really wanted Kirk. I just hated Kirk's contract and then he broke his collarbone. And I think that was actually going to happen. But Mike Williams will be okay. If Mike Williams is healthy, which is a gigantic if because the guy is never healthy. But if he's healthy, he will help the Steelers. I mean, if he could help the Chargers and he was helping the Chargers when healthy, then you can't tell me that he can't help the Steelers. He absolutely can. So him and GP have the same Madden rating, and GP is a dog on Madden. You're right. So you're exactly right. Hey, man, I'm going to run. I appreciate y'all. Make sure if you haven't subscribed already, man, make sure you guys go and subscribe. I'll be in the chat later on tonight. I got the podcast coming out tonight, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. We'll do our premiere like we usually do, man. So I appreciate y'all. This is the first time I did this on YouTube, just using my phone. We usually had the big production and all that stuff, but I just wanted to jump on. They sent me an email, said we could do vertical lives, and I was like, well, shoot. Let me jump on here and talk to my peeps, man. So talk a little Steelers. I appreciate y'all jumping in, man. I really, really do. I really appreciate y'all jumping in. We're just having some fun. If y'all come back tonight, I appreciate it. If not, I will holler at y'all, man. Aloha.